This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 13th day of June in the year 2018. Here's what we're tracking tonight. With no official national statistics available, Guyana's Chief Labor Officer Charles Ogle does not believe that child labor exists in this country on a large scale, and he has challenged persons to point him to instances of child employment in this country. Mr. Ogle led children from city schools on a march through the streets of Georgetown today to commemorate World Day Against Child Labor. Ahead of the march, he said Guyana does not have a large number of children who are engaged in work instead of attending school.
Could we point to a sawmill or anywhere in Georgetown or the coast, East Bank, to say children are being employed? I'm not aware. There are different definitions. The first world definition and the third world definition, or the Guyana, would be different.
The International Labour Organization states that the term child labor is often defined as work that deprives children of their childhood, their potential and their dignity, and that is harmful to physical and mental development. Minibus drivers who work the Georgetown to Mary route staged a picketing exercise this morning outside the Public Infrastructure Ministry. The drivers complained to News Source that while they have not increased their fares in more than 10 years, just about everything else for the operation of their minibuses have seen increases. They are now asking for an increase.
Gas price gone up. Tire now I had yesterday off a price of tire $35,000, brand new. I can't buy it because the amount of money for it and the man is selling second hand.
Alright, we ain't asking for much. We just asking for maintain my family, them little man. We can't afford to go home with $2,000 and them things. We got light bill, we got rent.
The protesting drivers said they want the government to remove some of the taxes from the fuel so that the price could be stabilized. Once that is done, they are sure that there will be no need for them to seek an increase at this time. The drivers are also asking that in addition to Route 42, the government considers adding a new route, Route 42A. The drivers say they are hoping that someone will look into their matter. On the police blotter right now, police have arrested 3 bandits who were caught red-handed early this morning during a robbery of the No. 1 supermarket at Grove on the east bank of the Demerara. In a statement, the Guyana Police Force reported that just around 4:30 this morning, the 3 men attacked, robbed and tied up a security guard at the supermarket, then broke into the business place. Only one of the 3 men was armed with a handgun. The security guard managed to untie himself and escaped while the men were still in the supermarket carrying out their early morning grocery heists. The 53-year-old security guard made his way to neighbors who immediately contacted the police. The police responded immediately, cornered the 3 men in the business place, and arrested them as they surrendered. The police found a .38 revolver along with 6 matching rounds, as well as a quantity of phone cards and a sum of cash in the possession of the 3 bandits. 2 of the men are from the Herstelling area, while the other one resides in Covent Garden. The local prison system is expected to be their new home, as they will face charges before this weekend. Let's tell you now that the Guyana Revenue Authority has announced that with the assistance of the Guyana Police Force, it has apprehended 4 persons in connection with the shooting of the GRA's law enforcement and investigation officers at Beehive on the east coast of Demerara. That incident took place last Thursday as the enforcement officers were moving in on the property to search for smuggled items following a discovery in a vessel and a vehicle. The officers came under fire from a bus that pulled up outside the property as they were about to conduct their search. 2 of the officers were hit even as they returned fire. The 2 injured officers were taken to a private hospital where they were treated for their injuries. Those arrested for the shooting have been identified as Ravindra Ramdeo of Lot 217 Section D Nunparel, Stefan Motilal and Trevor Motilal of 30 Greenfield Beehive, and Andrew Motilal of Lot 1112 Helena Mahika. The GRA today released the photographs of 3 of the 4 suspects. The 4 men are expected to appear in court shortly to answer to a number of charges related to the smuggling and the shooting incident. Still in the courts, APNU+AFC Region 5 Councillor Abel Sitaram will be spending the next 18 months in jail after being found guilty of felonious wounding. The 36-year-old man was handcuffed and handed over to prison authorities this afternoon in Berbice after the magistrate handed down the sentence. The sentence came following a probation report. His attorney was hoping for a non-custodial sentence, but Magistrate Rondell Weaver instead handed down the minimum sentence for the charge. Sitaram was arrested back in January of this year after he attacked and brutalized a 54-year-old plant and chip vendor in the West Coast Berbice area. The prosecution's case was that on the day in question, Sitaram's son and the son of the plant and chip vendor were involved in a fight. The vendor parted the 2 lads and ended the story. but Sitaram arrived moments later with a piece of wood and started to beat the vendor about his body. The man suffered a broken jaw and several other injuries and was hospitalized for several weeks. Sitaram, who is a member of the Alliance for a Change, once served as the Prime Minister's representative in the Region 5 area. And finally this evening, just days before Father's Day, a father and his son found themselves before the Chief Magistrate facing a murder charge. The two will now spend Father's Day behind bars. 54-year-old James Mackenzie and his son, 21-year-old Timothy Mackenzie, who both worked as bus conductors, stood before the Chief Magistrate and McLennan this afternoon and were not required to enter a plea to the indictable charge of murder. The charge is related to the stabbing death of vendor Richard Noel. The police prosecutor told the court that under the inquisition, the son, Timothy Mackenzie, confronted the vendor about harassing his sister. A fight broke out between the two men and the older Mackenzie rushed to his son's aid. It is alleged that the father and son beat and stabbed the man to the chest. The injured vendor was rushed to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. The two men were arrested just after and charged. The police prosecutor told the court that the matter is still being investigated. Bail was refused to both men and they will make their next court appearance on the 25th of this month. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.